Hi there, I'm Mistel Godlewski, an American girl who called the cornfields of Illinois home until over 10 years ago when I started navigating the chaos of life overseas. If you've ever felt that itch for something more, that whisper telling you to break free from the ordinary, you're in the right place. This podcast is your backstage pass to the wild ride of moving abroad. I'm here to pull back the curtain on the real journey, sharing stories that are funny, dramatic, and sometimes downright unbelievable. We'll explore the gritty details, from battling culture shock and navigating tricky visa processes to celebrating those small victories that make it all worth it. So whether you're daydreaming about a new life abroad or already in the thick of it, grab your passport and let's explore what it really means to live life beyond borders. Welcome to A Broadly Speaking. Hey there, welcome to the A Broadly Speaking podcast. My name is Mistel. I'm so glad you're here. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. This week, I wanted to talk to you more about some unique ways to land a job abroad that don't involve endless time scrolling on LinkedIn, Glassdoor, or whatever job search website that you're looking at. There are so many other ways to find jobs abroad that maybe other people don't know about. And so you're not competing against the same number of people that you are when you're looking at things like, hi, I want to go work for this company, right? And I want to chat with you about that today. If you're not looking to land a job abroad and you're looking just to retire abroad, well, maybe you can skip this one. There are some unconventional ways to get yourself a job overseas without stalking LinkedIn, without looking through thousands and thousands of job listings. So I invite you to grab a coffee or a glass of wine, no judgment, and let's talk about how to actually find a job abroad that doesn't involve mindlessly scrolling job boards. The first option is to look at volunteering your way into a paid job. I know you're probably thinking, oh, great, another unpaid gig. But hear me out. Some of the best job opportunities abroad come from organizations that start you off as a volunteer or as an intern. Think NGOs or local nonprofits, and even international locations like the UN or the Red Cross. They're always looking for volunteers abroad. And if you can get in, once you're on the inside, it's a lot easier to get hired for a paid position once they see what you bring to the table. Plus, you get that local experience and you get to see the country from the inside, which is definitely a perk if you're looking to make a long-term connection and find a role that's not on a job board. I know it seems impossible when you think about volunteering your way to a paid job because I don't have the money to do it anyway. But think about this. Many volunteer jobs actually have housing opportunities, and it's so much easier to get a volunteer visa in many countries than it is to get a job visa because oftentimes those don't cost a lot of money. So, like I said, you can get into the job market. Those volunteer organizations are often available for you to get in. The only thing you'd have to pay for potentially is your plane ticket abroad, because again, you might have look for job opportunities that have coverage of housing that will help you cover the volunteer visa that you need to stay long term. I would suggest when you're looking at companies or organizations that have this is look for opportunities in these organizations that have a history of hiring from within. You can see that based on looking at, for example, the LinkedIn profile for some of the key members of the organization. You can see it if they're just kind of here for one gig and then they're out, or have they been around for a long time, and you can see a progression of jobs. Even if it isn't paid, it might lead to something full-time down the line, and that gets you in to get started. The second option you can think about is seasonal work, and that's not just in tourist towns. So for seasonal work, you could work at a ski resort or a summer camp in a tourist destination. That's easy. But that's not all of the seasonal work that's available. There's seasonal work in agriculture, hospitality, and even in places like vineyards or farms that can lead to longer term employment. It's all about being in the right place at the right time. So, for example, if you're looking for an adventure or wine, you can harvest grapes in the fall in Italy and then work at a Christmas market in Germany in the winter. But here's the thing. Many of these come with housing, food, and community of people. And sometimes if you're really good, they'll keep you on after the season ends. It's not just for for example, for the harvest season, you can start there. And if you can get in on the harvest season, then maybe you can either jump company or jump countries if you're looking to move around, or if you're looking to stay. If you work really hard and you prove yourself, you can often keep on working in that vineyard or in that area long after the season ends. So look for seasonal job boards that are specific to the region or industry you're interested in. Trust me, there is way, way more options than just bartending at a beach bar. You can absolutely find places to be, especially if you're single. This is a really great option. If you want to tour many different places and you're not sure where you want to settle, you can start with, for example, harvesting grapes in Italy and then move on from there to Germany and then move on to France and keep moving around on seasonal jobs until you find where you want to be or you land a more permanent gig. Another thing to look for are work exchanges and room and board jobs. These are some old school ways to live abroad, which maybe sound a little bit funky. So websites like Workaway, HelpX, and WWOOF, so I would say WOOF, offer a chance to work abroad in exchange for room and board. It's like a super low budget way to travel, but here's the catch. You're working for it. Whether it's farming, hostel work, or even helping out with tourism operations, you're learning the local culture while you work. Some people even find that these gigs turn into paid work after they've proven themselves. It's a great way to get your foot in the door when you're still figuring out the local job market. So you get a short-term job and you can see, do I really like this place? Is this really where I see myself settling? And if not, you can move on. If so, you've gotten room and board for this period of time. So you saved a bundle of money, which you're probably paying rent in the US unless you're living in your parents' basement, but you're saving a bundle of money, you're living off of room and board in your job, and you're still enjoying being abroad, right? So it's a good way to dip your toes into living abroad without committing to a full-time contract. There's no rent costs, no food costs while you're there, so it's a win-win. You're saving money and you're actually enjoying yourself and living in this environment. The next option from finding a job abroad is networking. And I know it's not that comfortable for a lot of people, but it's not just about sending a LinkedIn connection request to some random person. In many countries, the real work happens face to face. That means meeting people at meetups, industry events, or even after work happy hours. So how can you do this when you don't live in the country? Well, there's a few different options. You can go to these events in your community, in your area. So say there's one, I don't know, in Boston. I'm picking on Boston at the moment. But if there's one in Boston and you're in New York, you can come down to a face-to-face here in the country that you are already living in. And you know there's going to be international folks here to go to that conference or to go to that industry. But it definitely makes a huge difference if you can network face-to-face. I know it sounds intimidating, but in a lot of places, knowing someone is a much bigger deal than submitting your resume online. Smaller companies, especially in those very niche markets or less touristy cities, are more likely to hire someone they've met in person. If you're at an event and you hit it off with someone, boom, job lead, right? So utilize those, even if you can't go, for example, to a job board thing in Spain or an industry thing in Spain. Look for ones that are around you that you can go to. And better yet, consider if your current company would be willing to send you to those job networking events because it's good for you and for your current company as well. In-person networking can sometimes beat cold emailing a hiring manager any day. Get out of your comfort zone, attend local meetups, or even pop by a business you're interested in and ask to chat with someone. If you're going on vacation and you know that you want to move to this area, pop into a local business and say, hi, are you looking for someone to work here? Not in that awkward way, of course, but kind of chat it up and get to know somebody. And then eventually that could lead to a job for you. Another idea, and this one requires a little bit of stretch thinking, but if you've got a weird hobby or some obscure talent, guess what? You can totally turn that into a job too. A lot of people abroad create side hustles by showcasing their skills as a local expert. Think about offering guided tours or teaching cooking classes or even setting up art workshops. Let's be real, tourists are always looking for something different, and locals often appreciate an insider's perspective. So if you're a history buff, maybe you're a foodie or you're a culture geek, use that to your advantage. Plus, these little gigs can sometimes grow into something more full time. This is kind of the side hustle of it all. If you're looking to start a job abroad and you're looking, for example, for a digital nomad role, this is a way that you can do it while still working full time. I'll be honest. What I do, I work a full time 9 to 5 job, and I have a small business that I run that helps people move abroad, right? So win win for everybody. And also, I have a niche opportunity to explain to people what to do, and I do it online. I can also do it locally, and I do support people locally in Switzerland as they're beginning their move. I've had a few people reach out, and I'm able to do something local as well. So my first clients in my small business were people that I helped move abroad from the US to Switzerland because I knew Switzerland so very well. So start small. Set up a website or a social media profile to advertise your services. Even a few clients can help you make the leap from tourist to local business owner. And you can take that with you, especially if you do it online. You can take that with you. If you're looking, for example, in a local area in Spain, look at what is missing in that area. Look at, find a touristy area that offers an opportunity for you to do that. The next idea is a little secret. And it's okay that this one's going to feel like, you're kidding, right? Job fairs aren't just for fresh out of college millennials. Many countries host international job fairs that cater to foreigners looking for work. And these events give you direct access to the companies that are hiring outside their usual recruitment process. It's kind of like speed dating, but for jobs. You get to meet with employers, hand over your resume or CV in person, and sometimes even get interviewed on the spot. Plus, they often have specific fairs for industries like tech, healthcare, education, pharma, etc. So do your homework beforehand and dress professionally. Bring a ton of CV papers with you, but make sure you look at how your CV is formatted so that you're not, just sending something into the void. These events are a great way to get immediate feedback and possibly even a job offer right at the door. They're looking for people to move abroad. So look for those. Google it. And I know I don't often tell you to Google things, but Google international job fairs that are somewhere around you. It might require a small investment for you to get there. For example, they're often going to be in places like Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Chicago, et cetera, in these big cities, but go and start networking and making the difference. This is one where you can both network and actually get a job at the same time. Bonus points, right? If you're connected to academia or even a university, there are often research roles, teaching positions, or administrative jobs that aren't posted online. Universities, more often than not, prefer to hire within their networks. So if you're a student or you have some academic experience, don't be shy about asking for opportunities. You can do your postdoc abroad. You can do your studying abroad. In fact, that's a big thing. If you're connected and you're a student right now, you can potentially study abroad. And you can work in many countries while you study abroad. Bonus points, right? So tap into your university connections. Even if you're not directly a student or a professor, look for admin roles or part-time positions within university departments, or look to go back to school, maybe get your bachelor's or your master's or even your PhD abroad, and you can work while you're doing it. Most countries allow you to work about an average of 20 hours a week while you're there on a student visa. So you're able to do all the things at once, and then you get preference to getting a job there when you graduate as well. So all the bonuses when it comes to academia. There's also an option, and this is the one that I think most people know about, is looking for freelance or remote work that transitions to local jobs. So if you start off remote and before you know it, you have a local job in your inbox. Freelancing is a great way to build up a portfolio, to meet potential clients from all over the world, and eventually transition into a full-time role abroad. This requires a little bit of industry specificity. So for example, tech, design, marketing, writing. You can do internet website design, things like that. These are all freelance friendly industries that allow you to build a network and then transition into local opportunities when you get there. It's also a great way to test the waters in a new city or country without committing to full-time on-the-ground job anyway. Because if you do that, your visa is often tied to your job. And if you don't have another job and you hate the one that you have, you can't quit because, well, you would lose your visa. So use the freelancing as a way to build your reputation, as a way to establish yourself, and then you'll be positioned for a full-term in-country job once it's available for you. And then your visa is not necessarily tied to the job right away. All right, my friend, there you have it. No LinkedIn, no Glassdoor, no endless scrolling for jobs. There are plenty of creative ways to land a job abroad that don't involve the usual job search grind. So get out there and network or volunteer, take a seasonal job, go back to school. You never know where it might lead. If you're looking for more tips on how to make your move abroad financially feasible, we can help with that too. I've got a few free resources that I'll drop in the show notes that are helping you set up your CV in the right way, your curriculum vitae in the right way, as well as a few ways to save on your move abroad, 10 different ways to save on your move abroad so that you can make it more affordable for you. That is it for this episode, my friend. I hope this was helpful for you. As always, reach out in email or on Instagram at I am Estelle for any questions that you have, any concerns, etc. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in to A Broadly Speaking. If today's episode got you dreaming a little bigger or thinking a little braver, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's ready for their own adventure. And hey, don't be a stranger. Come hang out with me over on Instagram at I am Estelle for the real, unfiltered life abroad. Keep that passport handy, and remember, life's too short to stay in one place.